Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It's good to have you with us on this Monday morning, starting another work week. And boy, I'm telling you, this summer is moving pretty quickly. It's the 31st of July today. We're in August tomorrow, which means our new semester will be starting in a couple of weeks. I know one person's excited about that. Dr. Nicholas Cox, our history department chair and my co-host every Monday. Good to see you, Nick.
Good morning, Todd. And yes, I'm always happy to see everybody come back from summer break.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people took vacations. You took a vacation a couple of weeks ago during the summer. Back in Houston, though, the semester, though, is getting started pretty quickly. Do you know when the first day of classes will be?
Well, it'll be a third week in August, so not too far away. Faculty come back for instructional week a week ahead of that, and that's now we're only a couple weeks away.
So the main thing is, and we'll talk about it later in the show, is now is the time if students haven't registered, especially for those in-person classes. I know, like yourself, if someone wants to take a history class and there aren't enough sections, you'll add more classes. We just need them to register for that.
That's right. I actually have a plan to add some more classes today at our popular campuses. You got to build classes where student demand is located.
So go to hccs.edu/apply to register now. We'll talk about it later in the show as well. We want to thank everyone watching us on Facebook and YouTube. We're here live every morning at 10 a.m. when HCC is in session. And Nick, they can also catch us anytime in social media and on our cable channel.
That's right, Todd. We're live on the HCC Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So, Nick, today is Mental Health Monday, and we're focusing on two important issues. One of them, you'll be speaking with the next group of individuals about PTSD. And we've got Staff Sergeant John A. Calloway with U.S. Marine Corps, retired, and also Christopher Kimble. You'll recognize him. He was with the Marine Corps as well, and he's a former student and also one of our co-hosts of Veterans Voice. Good to see you both, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thanks. We're looking forward to, it's good to see you, Chris. You're coming a long way, man. You're always now you're on the air. You're doing Veterans Voice, and are you still doing tutoring at our campuses?
Yes, I am. Monday through Wednesday. Monday 12 to 8 p.m. Tuesday 12 to 8 p.m. Wednesday 12 to 4.
Good deal. We're going to talk to you about that, and also we're going to be talking about PTSD. So stick around. Nick will be with you in about 10 minutes. Okay, let's kick things off right now. We're discussing about Houston's homeless, but first it's being viewed as a leader in our approach of looking at this. Mike Nichols joins us. He's the president and CEO for the Coalition for the Homeless. Welcome to the show, Mike. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Todd. I'm glad to be here. It's summertime, it's hot, and when we see our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness on the streets of Houston, it even brings more pain.
It's unbearable outside.
It is.
It's just unbearable.
I'm the CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless, which is we're a nonprofit, and we're the lead agency for the whole homeless response system, which is made up of about 100 different entities, both public and private, nonprofits who serve the homeless, and government entities that fund the homeless. That fund our end to homelessness. Our goal and what we do as this lead agency is we'll bring together these partners and we maximize resources to move people who are experiencing homelessness into permanent housing. The way home is what we call our collective approach to this philosophy. But I want to make a point as we're talking about today, as we're discussing mental health. There's a lot of conflation of the issues of mental health and homelessness. And I think it's important to recognize a couple of things. One is when people are living outside, when they are homeless, they will inevitably have mental health issues because of the pain and suffering and trauma of all that. But some people conflate these issues and assume that everybody is experiencing homelessness because of mental health. People experience homelessness because they lack housing. And what we've done in Houston, which is different than other cities, is we put all of our focus, all of our funding on moving people experiencing homelessness into permanent housing. And permanent housing means a real unit with not a little house, not a shelter, but a real unit with a key and a lock and a roof and air conditioning and heating and a kitchen and a name on their lease, and subsidy for that lease, and payments for professional case management. And again, what we found out in Houston, after housing 28,000 people in the last decade in permanent housing, what we found out is with that tripod of services, subsidy, and a real house, 85% of those people move forward in their lives and succeed and don't ever go back into the homeless response system.
From what you're saying, Mike,
amazing. Go ahead.
From what you're saying, it sounds like you're taking more of a holistic approach to this, not just putting someone in a home, but you're giving them the resources so that they can sustain that home. And I would imagine you're also getting them up to where they could find a suitable employment to sustain that
Absolutely.
home. Is that correct?
Income is very important to us. We have a great, and we talked about mental health, we have a terrific partnership with the Harris Center, which of course, as you know, is Harris County's mental health authority. That partnership, along with the other case managers and other groups like the Sobering Center, means that people move forward in their lives. But I don't want to miss this point. The first step is getting people into permanent housing. That solves many, many issues that is problematic without that.
Well, do you find when you reach out to people, are most of them willing to accept the help, or are they more maybe because of mental health issues, they may not want to accept the help? And if they don't, how do you deal with that?
One of the frustrating things to me is when people say, oh, I know somebody who wants to be homeless. Here are the facts. We're a data-driven organization. And I'll give you an example. Early in the year, we decommissioned an encampment at 45 and Allen Parkway. Had 52 people in that.
Right.
At that moment, we had housing available for those people. And in over a month, we visited with them and talked to them. And then we said, okay, in the next 3 days, we're decommissioning this encampment. Do you want housing? 49 of 52 said, absolutely yes.
Wow. 3
people self-resolved or went somewhere else. That's generally the statistics, is somewhere around 90%. If they're offered housing immediately, they will say yes. Where people make mistakes sometimes, they say, we're going to give you housing sometime in the next 6 months. When you're experiencing the trauma of homelessness, that's too far away.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I know that encampment you were talking about, because you'd be in the downtown area, you drive by it, and it's amazing that what is Houston doing better than other cities? I mean, for example, San Francisco, incredible homeless problem they have in San Francisco. How are we able to combat this and get people back into homes and working, and other cities can't do that? What are we doing different here?
I think that 3 things. The LA Times said what LA could learn from Houston was that we're organized, that we're pragmatic, and that we have scale. The organization is really important. We are in sync. The Harris County, City of Houston, HPD, the Coalition, Housing Authority, Downtown Management District are in sync with our philosophy of housing first. And so the money is focused on that, not on hotels, not on shelters. And so that's the organization. The second is scale. We can't fix everybody. And what our goal is 85 to 90%. That's our goal. The 10% who either can't accept the housing or when they get there aren't a fit, it's another, we have to have another system to do that. And we do, but we really focus on that pragmatism, and then that scale. We're trying to get as many people housed as quickly as possible. So when
obviously you guys work,
go ahead.
Obviously y'all work off contributions. That must be a big part. If people want to help, what's the best way they can do that with assisting you and helping other people?
So the first thing I think we have to understand, what we work off is building government funds, using them and braiding them with individual contributions. For every dollar that we bring in, $1.74 is brought in with federal funding. And that's what we do, because you couldn't do it just off philanthropy. Philanthropy cannot mask bad government. Philanthropy can enhance good government. And that's what we do. So we have an acronym called CARE. And that acronym is first contribute. The website is The Way Home, or Houston Coalition for the Homeless of Houston. So contributing is always important, and those dollars again multiply. The second is advocate, which means we have to advocate with our elected officials and for policies that increase the amount of market rate housing and funding for services. And again, during this election, I really want people to not to conflate crime and homelessness, because it is not the same issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
But more services and dollars go a long way. R is to reach out, volunteer with the coalition, or Search, or Star of Hope, or Salvation Army, all great organizations to volunteer with. And the last is to educate yourself and others about the difference in the problems with homelessness and mental health, the difference in the problems of homelessness and giant poverty, which we have a terrible problem in this country of poverty. And that's a bigger conversation than just homelessness.
Well, Mike, you guys do some incredible work. We appreciate you being on the show and educating us this morning, but also giving people a lot to think about and wanting to help others who may be on the show.
Todd, I want to say one thing about HCC. I think it's a remarkable institution for our community. We have worked with them during crisis on buildings and other things to help folks. But I want to tell a personal story that my youngest son went to HCC after he had his college degree and got a license for counseling, chemical dependency counseling, and is now in his final year of a PhD program at Texas Tech in clinical psychology and addiction studies. And he will say that his experience at HCC was so important to him. And this is a guy who already had a college degree, that was so important to him to move his life forward and really making a huge impact in communities.
Well, we love hearing stories like that. We're proud of you and your son and the work that you do. Thank you, Mike. Mike Nichols, President and CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless. We will have all of your information in our social media post after the show. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much.
All right. We're going to turn things over. Mental Health Monday is going to continue. And Nick, you've got a couple of special guests talking about PTSD.
That's right. Thank you, Todd. And certainly PTSD is an important issue to discuss on Mental Health Monday. And we're going to turn to retired Marine Staff Sergeant John Calloway, the organizer of the Rota Reunion. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And also HCC tutor Christopher Kimble, a former Marine Corps sergeant, a member of the Rota Reunion, and Veterans Voice co-host. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So research shows that PTSD is one of the top mental health issues in the USA today. You and Christopher served as Marines, but John, let's start with you. I'm told that you suffer from PTSD. Can you briefly describe how that impacts your life? And
over a 16-year period, I've done 6 combat deployments, 3 as an infantryman and 3 as an EOD technician, bomb squad technician. Over the years, the mind plays tricks on itself with this constant need to protect itself, wearing away on the fibers that be of yourself, and eventually just overspilling into a need for help.
Now, those 6 deployments that you described as a explosive ordnance disposal technician, those experiences are the foundation of the PTSD that you suffer today, working as an explosive technician?
I've watched people be extremely hurt, lost limbs, and these things are very morbid sights that no one should see. It's not natural. Death isn't natural, but when you're dealing with war, things happen.
What was it like returning home from these deployments with PTSD?
Returning home is one of the hardest things to ever do, to be able to turn that switch back off from constant attack mode to back to normal mode. It's one of the most times where people can see a spike in arrests, a spike in drinking, and a spike in drug usage.
So with PTSD, describe for us your experience returning home beyond the larger endemic PTSD that soldiers experience nationwide. What about yourself? Anything you'd like to share about your experiences?
Personally, myself, a lot of sleeping in, a lot of alcohol abuse, a lot of arguing with the family. The main thing is you think that no one understands or no one cares or can understand or have sympathy towards the things that you have experienced. So you lash back. You lash back at the ones that are closest to you.
Well, I want to come back to you in a moment and ask you some questions about Rota, but I have some questions for Chris also. Chris, you and John are both part of the same Facebook group where you and your platoon members can express, gripe, rant, and vent a little bit. You even described this Facebook group as a virtual VFW hall. Tell us a little bit about this online support and community that you guys have found.
Well, in most towns, they'll have a Veterans of Foreign Wars hall or some type of maybe a Legion hall. And these veterans know that when you go to that establishment, you know that there will be other veterans just like you. But the veteran population is so spread out, you may not be near a VFW. So we have an online group where we can get together and have that same camaraderie.
Now, is the VFW hall active in providing PTSD support to veterans in person as well, so that you get options between in person or online? Do you feel like PTSD suffering soldiers from more recent combat experiences are more inclined to seek help online from peers?
Well, to be honest, your VFW and your Legion, these are mostly establishments where really they're bars, to be honest. So this is not medical help, but the best help you can get is from someone who can readily identify with your situation. And you're only going to get that from another veteran, and you're only going to find that other veteran in a bar.
Mm-hmm. And so for people struggling with alcohol issues related to PTSD, perhaps the online groups are a more healthy way to process and find camaraderie and find support among peers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a much better alternative. And the big plus to it is that our group is based on guys who were together over 20 years ago. And people have become fathers. People have gone on to higher education. And even though we've all changed in some way, we can find each other. Hey, remember when we were cold, wet, and hungry? And that's a special bond with someone in that type of condition. So we can always look back to that day. If there's something John isn't doing, I can remind you, hey, John, remember that day we overcame everything. And that can mean a lot just coming from somebody you remember that with.
Now, Chris, I understand that these online support groups that sometimes you and your fellows will engage a little healthy peer pressure to nudge people to seek treatment when needed. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yes. We meet each other. Well, I'll put it to you like this. The U.S. military is the blowtorch that runs America's melting pot. So you're going to meet people from all over the place with varying problems. And we get to meet each other as young men. We often get to discover these problems that we all have personally. So maybe there's someone who may be dealing with anger issues now 20 plus years on, and we can remind that person, hey, remember, we dealt with this in the military and you had a hold of it then. Or maybe we met someone who drank a lot and now it's getting out of control. We can remind them, hey, remember, you had this in check.
Well, Chris, let me come right back to you and ask you about Veterans Voices in a moment. But John, explain, what is the Rota Reunion? Can you tell us what that means and what that reunion is for?
Yes, the Rota Reunion is a group of men. We're all stationed together 20 years ago in Rota, Spain. The men of Jimenez Hall, that's the name of our barracks that we stayed in. And actually, this time next week, we're having our first inaugural reunion where 12 of us are getting together, all from different parts of the United States, getting together in Vegas to get to re-energize and reconnect.
And you guys shared an original experience together in Rota 20 years ago. Did I understand that right? 20 years?
Yes.
That's remarkable. It sounds wonderful. So the 12 of you guys will get together, catch up, to see how life has gone since in the last 20 years. That's a great opportunity to see your friends and to share and support each other.
Yes.
Chris, as we wrap up here this discussion about veterans issues today, can you tell everyone a little bit about Veterans Voices?
Yes, Veterans Voice is a show that I co-host, and it is a way for students and student veterans to tune in to become, number one, available of all of the veteran services available at HCC, and also to meet people throughout the city who are in charge of or operating veteran services that are reaching out to us veterans to help us.
Well, Chris, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but could you estimate, maybe even give us a ballpark, how many veterans are taking classes at HCC these days?
I would say 10%, and I recognize them. They see me. I'm always what we call wearing something moto. I either have on a hat that says Marine or a shirt that says Marine, and they'll pull me to the side. Hey, Marine, how do I do this? Because they know I'm going to give them an answer. And when I let them know that I'm also a tutor, that makes them want to come see me because they know we will accomplish the mission.
Well, thank you both. Retired Marine Staff Sergeant John Calloway, Rota Reunion organizer, and HCC Christopher Kimble, also a Marine Corps Sergeant and a member of the Rota Reunion and co-host of Veterans Voices. We'll have your information after the show in our notes. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, Chris. All right, let's move on to a few announcements before we wrap up the show. First up, new student orientation. If you're going to be taking classes at HCC, you'll definitely want to tune into this. Student Services at Coleman will host a new student orientation to help students with everything they need to know about starting classes. It's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow, August the 1st, at HCC's Coleman Tower Lecture Hall. Check it out. We'll have some information in our social media post after this show. And we've also got something for fempreneurs as well, Nick.
That's right. Calling all women business leaders out there. It can seem like a good time for women to start a business, but some might want to take risks, learn how to jump out there and start your business. So we have a virtual series that continues with some tips on how to be a fempreneur. The next event is called What's Next When I Get in the Room. It's on Wednesday, August 2nd from noon to 1:30 p.m. Check our post after the show for registration information.
HCC's Entrepreneurial Initiatives is offering another free workshop in a partnership with SCORE. It's to help you learn more about the business end of business. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Thursday, August the 3rd. That's this coming Thursday. It's at the Missouri City campus. So check our post after the show. You'll need to register, but this is a free event that you can attend. And, we're talking about homelessness earlier, but quite honestly, food insecurity is a big deal. You may have a home, but sometimes groceries, as we all know, are getting more expensive. Same with the price of gas. Well, HCC is working with Nick. They're working with the Houston Food Bank to assist our students and literally anyone within the HCC community.
That's right. We have a long-time partnership with the Houston Food Bank, and we have what's called a food scholarship program. HCC's Student Success Center offers free groceries, including fresh fruit, veggies, protein, canned goods, and more. Sign up is easy. Walk-ins are welcome. The next event is at the Spring Branch campus at the Student Success Center, Tuesday, August 8th from 1 to 4 p.m. Check our post after the show for registration information.
Okay, speaking of registration, I'm going to skip on down and talk about this because we are registering for classes right now for fall 2023. Starts in a few weeks. Well, we've got 5 ways for you to learn. 2 of them are strictly online, completely online, I should say. 2 of them are hybrid with a mixture of online and in-person classes. And then we have the in-person classes. You can go to any HCC campus, enroll, but those classes fill up quickly. So make sure you register early. Now's the time to do so. Go to hccs.edu/apply. Tomorrow, Tasty Tuesday, when we've got a popular healthy alternative called Leaf and Grain. What's that about? We'll hear all about that tomorrow. And later this week, we'll feature Coleman College's physical therapy program. So we got a big week coming up, Nick. It's always good to see you on Mondays.
Well, thank you, Todd. I'll be here again next week. And you guys have a great discussion tomorrow on Tasty Tuesday. I'll be checking it out.
Tasty Tuesday is one of my favorite days of the week. Sooner or later, we're going to get back to where we're going to have somebody live at these restaurants. We're going to start doing that in the near future. So that'll be nice. They can bring us all back food. That's part of the job. Anyway, thanks for being here, folks. We'll see all of you tomorrow morning. We'll be live at 10 a.m. right here for Up to the Minute.